Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
From AI-inspired insights from farmers.
If you're enjoying what we're doing here, we'd love to hear from you too.
Absolutely.
Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and definitely leave a comment telling us what you want to see more of on this deep dive.
We're always looking for new ideas, and we really value your feedback.
So what farm-related mysteries are you dying to uncover?
Right.
What questions are keeping you up at night? Let us know, and maybe we'll tackle them in a future deep dive. Today,
All right, so welcome everyone to this deep dive. Today we're looking into something that's, well, pretty fascinating to me at least. We're talking about how technology is changing the world of livestock farming.
it's definitely a hot topic and one that's evolving rapidly.
Absolutely, especially when it comes to the genetics of livestock and how farms are actually managed day to day. And, for anyone listening who's maybe thinking about starting a farm or is like new to it all, I think we're going to cover some really valuable stuff today.
Definitely. For this deep dive, we dug through a ton of research, like actual scientific studies, industry reports, all that good stuff, to see how AI, artificial intelligence and automation are changing the game.
Yeah, the goal here is to kind of cut through the noise and give everyone a clear picture of what the future of livestock farming looks like. So first up, let's tackle livestock genetics. I mean, it seems like we're on the verge of a whole new era, right?
Yeah, for sure. We're already seeing huge changes thanks to something called the genomic revolution, especially in dairy cattle breeding.
Genomic revolution. Sounds intense.
Well, it kind of is. Basically, by analyzing an animal's entire genome, like their complete genetic code, we can now predict how likely they are to have certain traits, like producing a lot of milk or being resistant to diseases. It's way more accurate than older methods.
So before, breeders were just going off what they could see, right? Like how the animals looked and their family history.
Exactly. They focused on the animal's phenotype, which is like their outward appearance, and their pedigree, their ancestry. But now we can actually pinpoint the exact genetic markers for those good traits. So we can tell much earlier on how good an animal's potential is, even before those traits are fully visible.
That's got to be a game changer for breeders.
Oh, totally. This whole genomic selection thing has sped up the rate of genetic improvement like crazy. I mean, we're talking 2, even 3 times faster progress in areas like milk production, fertility, and overall animal health.
Wow, that's impressive. So not only is it faster, but it's also more accurate?
Yep. We can determine an animal's breeding value way more accurately now, like how likely they are to pass on good genes to their offspring. This means breeders can make better decisions about which animals to breed and spread those good genes throughout their herds much faster.
This is all pretty high-tech stuff, but for someone who's like new to farming, what does it really mean for their bottom line?
It means bigger profits, like way bigger. When you have healthier animals that produce more, you spend less on vet bills and get more product to sell. It's a win-win.
Makes sense, but every new technology comes with its own set of challenges, right?
Of course. One issue is that we need even more data to make our predictions even better. The bigger and more diverse the data sets, the more accurate we can be. And then there's the cost. Implementing this tech can be expensive, especially for smaller farms. But as it becomes more common, we expect prices to come down.
Right. That's usually how it goes. So we've got this genomic revolution happening, and now everyone's talking about artificial intelligence or AI taking it even further. How does that even work with genetics?
Well, AI, which includes things like machine learning, is like super good at analyzing huge amounts of data. And that includes all the genetic information we've been talking about. Plus, things like, the animal's physical traits and even the environment they live in. It can spot patterns that humans would never catch.
So we're taking all this data from genomics and using AI to dig even deeper.
Exactly. There's this thing called deep learning, which uses neural networks to mimic how our brains work. It's perfect for handling massive amounts of data and finding those hidden relationships that traditional methods miss. It can, like, pinpoint the exact genes and markers linked to specific traits, so we can be even more selective in our breeding programs.
And this AI keeps getting smarter as it goes, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. AI is adaptive. It's constantly learning from new data, getting better at its predictions all the time.
It's not just the genes that matter, though, right? The environment the animals live in and how they're cared for, that has to play a role.
Oh, for sure. And AI can factor that in, too. By analyzing things like their diet, their housing, their health records, we can get a much clearer picture of their true genetic potential.
I also came across this term fuzzy logic when reading about AI and genetics. Sounds kind of, well, Fuzzy.
Fuzzy logic is actually a really cool branch of AI. It's designed to handle the fact that biology is messy. Like there's always some uncertainty. In genetic evaluations, we often have incomplete information. Fuzzy logic helps us make smart decisions even when we don't have all the answers.
So with AI, it sounds like we're moving towards a much more personalized approach to breeding.
100%. AI can look at the specific genetic and physical traits of your herd and suggest the best breeding strategies for your goals. Whether you want to avoid inbreeding, increase genetic diversity, or just make more money, it's all about tailoring the plan to your specific needs.
I read about a company, AgBoost, that's doing this kind of thing. What can you tell us about them?
AgBoost has developed some really neat AI software for cattle producers. It basically helps them make sense of all that genomic data. Their platform combines genomic information with data about like birth weight and other things you can actually measure.
So what's the benefit for farmers who use this kind of software?
Well, they can make faster, more informed decisions about breeding. AgBoost claims it can actually reduce the amount of money farmers lose on each calf. It's pretty significant. Farmers can track individual animals or whole groups and select for specific traits, like I think they have 17 different ones. It helps with everything from feeding strategies to managing health issues to even marketing their cattle.
I heard they present the data in a visual wheel format.
They do. It makes it much easier for farmers to understand what can be some pretty complex genetic information. It's a good way to see the big picture and make decisions quickly.
So this tech isn't just for breeding, it can actually impact the whole farm business.
Definitely. Seed stock producers, the ones who breed animals specifically for breeding purposes, they can use AgBoost to market their animals better. It basically proves how good their genetics are. It also lets them model different scenarios and decide which bloodlines to keep and which ones to phase out to improve their herd. AgBoost is actually planning to expand to other regions and livestock types too. So there's a lot of potential there.
All this focus on genetics, it seems like it could be a real boon for animal welfare too.
You're right. With AI-driven breeding programs, we can actually select for traits that directly benefit the animal's well-being, like their resistance to diseases, their tolerance to stress, even their ability to handle heat. We can literally breed healthier, happier animals.
Which in turn probably means fewer vet visits and a more sustainable farm overall.
Exactly. Less need for treatments, less stress on the animals. And healthier animals generally require fewer resources too. Like, think about New Zealand. They've actually bred cows that produce less methane, a major greenhouse gas. AI could really accelerate that kind of progress.
So genetics is one side of the coin. The other is the daily management of livestock. And it looks like AI is disrupting that too. We're even hearing about chatbots on farms now.
Yeah, it might sound strange, but AI is quickly becoming a crucial part of managing livestock, both for animals and poultry. It's all about collecting and analyzing data to help farmers make better decisions and run their farms more efficiently.
What kind of data are we talking about, and how are they collecting it?
It's everything from how the animals behave to their health metrics like temperature and heart rate, and of course data about their productivity like milk yield or weight gain. We're talking sensors attached to the animals, those are called wearables, and smart devices all over the farm, like automated feeding systems and environmental controls. It's part of the Internet of Things, or IoT.
So they're gathering all this data, but how does AI actually use it?
AI systems analyze all that data in real time, giving farmers valuable insights. They can spot health issues early on, adjust feeding schedules so each animal gets the right amount of food, and allocate resources like water and energy more efficiently. It all leads to healthier animals, higher productivity, and lower costs for the farmer.
It seems like AI is almost acting as like a super attentive farmhand.
In a way, yeah. You can pick up on subtle changes in an animal's behavior that might indicate a problem, like if they're moving less or eating differently. The sooner we catch these things, the less stress on the animal and the easier it is to treat.
It can even monitor the environment in the barn or the pasture, right?
Absolutely. It keeps the temperature and humidity just right. And it can even predict situations that might stress the animals out, like overcrowding or the early stages of a disease outbreak. This way, farmers can take action before things get bad.
How about productivity? How does AI help with that?
Well, smart sensors can monitor things like vital signs, activity levels, even the weight of each animal. Farmers can access all this data remotely and see how their herd is doing at any time. And the AI can analyze all that data and recommend changes, like tweaking the feeding plan, adjusting living conditions, or isolating an animal that might be sick.
Disease is a huge concern for any farmer. What's AI doing to help with that?
It's a game changer for both detecting and preventing disease. As we said, it can spot those early warning signs, often before any symptoms even show up. so farmers can isolate sick animals and stop the disease from spreading to the whole herd. AI can even use historical data and environmental factors, like weather, to predict outbreaks. This could be super helpful for planning vaccination strategies.
It sounds like constant monitoring is key to making all this work. How is AI changing that?
AI systems, a lot of them use deep learning algorithms, can monitor animal behavior, their health, their activity, all in real time. They do it using those wearable sensors we talked about, and sensors placed around the farm. It means way less work for humans, but still gives farmers the information they need to take care of their animals. This is especially important for, like, the dairy export industry, where maintaining top-notch animal health standards is crucial.
All this data doesn't just stay on the farm, though, does it?
Nope. A lot of these AI solutions use cloud-based platforms, so farmers can see real-time updates and get advice from the system no matter where they are. It's a truly connected system, and it's bringing together the expertise of animal scientists with the power of AI to create a much more sustainable and efficient way of farming.
We hadn't talked about feeding yet. That's got to be a major expense for farmers, and AI is getting involved there too, right?
Yeah, AI is bringing a whole new level of precision to feeding. There are smart feeding systems that use machine learning to figure out exactly how much food each animal needs. It factors in things like their weight, age, and how much milk or meat they're producing. So there's no more wasted feed, and every animal gets exactly the right nutrition. It can even analyze the feed itself and suggest changes to the recipe to make it even better for the animals.
With all this emphasis on prevention and early detection, it seems like AI could really cut down on vet bills.
Absolutely. By catching diseases early and taking preventative measures, we can often avoid those expensive treatments down the road. AI can also help with diagnosing problems and suggesting treatments, which can mean fewer trips to the vet. And there are telemedicine platforms, powered by AI, that let farmers consult with vets remotely. That saves everyone time and money.
It's clear that AI is having a huge impact on day-to-day management, but it's also playing a role in the bigger picture of animal health and disease control, right?
For sure, there are AI tools like thermal imaging that can detect fevers in animals, and voice recognition software that can pick up on sounds of distress. All this data feeds into a central dashboard, giving farmers a clear picture of their herd's health and letting them act quickly if there's a problem. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, AI can analyze historical and geographic data to predict disease outbreaks, helping farmers be more prepared.
It sounds like a lot of this is pointing towards this idea of precision livestock farming. What's that all about?
Precision livestock farming, or PLF, is all about using data to make every decision on the farm as precise as possible. It combines machine learning and the Internet of Things to that level of precision to pretty much everything a farmer does. It can be used to monitor grazing patterns, predict the best time for calving, and basically optimize every aspect of the operation.
AI isn't just limited to the farm itself, though, is it? It's even changing the way livestock products move through the supply chain.
Yeah, AI is making the whole supply chain more efficient. It's used to manage inventory on the farm, plan delivery routes, and track products all the way from the farm to the grocery store. This kind of real-time data makes the whole system more transparent and efficient. And it benefits consumers too, because they can be more confident about the quality and safety of the food they're buying.
All this is really impressive, but we also need to talk about climate change, which is a major challenge for agriculture. Does AI have a role to play in finding solutions?
Definitely. AI technologies can be incredibly helpful in reducing the environmental impact of livestock farming. It can help farmers use resources like water, feed, and energy more efficiently, leading to more sustainable practices.
How exactly does it do that?
AI can analyze data about land use, greenhouse gas emissions from the farm, and energy consumption. It can find areas where resources are being wasted and suggest ways to improve. For example, it might predict a heat wave and recommend adjustments to ventilation or wiring systems to protect the animals.
Livestock, especially cows, produce a lot of methane, which is a powerful greenhouse gas. Is AI being used to address this issue?
Yes, researchers are using AI to discover new ways to reduce methane emissions from livestock. One really interesting approach is to use AI to identify molecules that can block methane production in the cow's rumen, which is the first part of their stomach. These molecules could potentially be added to feed to significantly reduce methane emissions.
That would be a huge step forward in the fight against climate change.
Absolutely. And even in more everyday tasks, AI can make a big difference. We already talked about how it can optimize feeding to reduce waste. Every little bit helps.
It's clear that there's a lot of innovation happening in livestock farming. Let's talk about some of the specific technologies being used. Starting with robotics, how are robots changing the way we breed livestock?
Robotics is playing a huge role in gathering data about the animals, which is essential for improving genetics. Robots can measure all those observable characteristics, like milk yield, growth rate, and behavior, in a very precise and consistent way. This generates the massive amounts of data we need to make accurate predictions about an animal's genetic potential.
So basically, robots are collecting the raw material that fuels the whole genetic improvement process.
Exactly. And when you combine robotics with AI, you get this really powerful system for genetic selection. The AI can analyze all that data collected by robots and find complex patterns that humans would probably miss. This helps us pick the best animals for breeding and speed up the development of superior genetics.
In any scientific field, consistency of data is crucial. How do robots help with that?
Robots are really good at doing the same task over and over again in exactly the same way. This is really important for making sure the data we collect for genetic studies is accurate and reliable. By automating these tasks, we remove the possibility of human error and get much more consistent results.
It sounds like robots are actually contributing to better animal welfare, too.
They are. Robots can monitor the health of animals more often and with greater precision than humans can. This means we can detect problems earlier and make sure that only healthy animals are used for breeding. This helps to improve the overall health and well-being of the entire herd.
We've talked about precision livestock farming. How do robots fit into that picture?
Robots with advanced sensors can gather tons of information about the animals and their environment, things like temperature, humidity, and even the animal's physiological data. This data, combined with AI analysis, allows us to create much more effective breeding strategies that take into account all the real-world factors that affect livestock.
It seems like robotics is also changing some of the more technical aspects of genetics, like lab work.
Yeah, there are automated systems now that use robots to handle things like DNA extraction and sequencing. These robots are faster and more accurate than humans, which makes these complex genetic techniques more affordable and accessible for more farmers.
One application that caught my attention was AI-driven dairy cattle classification. What can you tell us about that?
AI can now classify dairy cattle with incredible accuracy. It does this by analyzing huge data sets of information, including both the animal's physical appearance and their genetic code. Deep learning techniques, especially something called convolutional neural networks, are used to analyze images of the cows. It looks at their body shape and udder development to help classify them.
So it's combining what we can see with what's in their genes.
Exactly. By bringing together all this different data, like genomic information, milk production records, and visual analysis, AI can get a much more complete and accurate picture of an animal's potential. And like we said, robotics can help by gathering real-time visual data for the AI to analyze. Even fuzzy logic is used to deal with the natural variations and uncertainties in biological data, which leads to more accurate classifications.
This has been a really fascinating look at how technology is transforming the livestock industry. Before we wrap up, I understand you have a special bonus insight to share about the global impact of all these advancements.
Yes, I do. All of this innovation has the potential to significantly impact global food security. By breeding more efficient and productive livestock and managing them more effectively, we can produce more food with fewer resources. This is incredibly important as the world's population continues to grow. And these technologies also allow us to breed animals that can thrive in a wider range of environments, which is critical in a changing world.
And it seems like these advancements could also help make livestock farming more climate resilient.
Absolutely. If we can breed animals that are more resistant to disease, can handle heat stress better, and are more efficient at using resources like feed and water, they'll be much better equipped to deal with the challenges of climate change. This could help stabilize food production even as the climate becomes more unpredictable. And of course, by optimizing practices and breeding lower emission animals, we can reduce the environmental footprint of livestock farming, which is a win for everyone.
Of course, with any new technology, there are challenges to overcome.
That's right. We need to make sure that farmers everywhere have access to these technologies and the data they need to use them. The cost of adopting these technologies can be a barrier for some farmers, so we need to find ways to make them more affordable. And it's important to carefully consider the ethical implications of these powerful technologies. Education and training for farmers are also essential to make sure everyone can benefit from these advancements.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the future of livestock farming. For anyone out there who's involved in agriculture or thinking about getting into it, it's clear that AI and automation are going to play a huge role in shaping this industry. The potential benefits for efficiency, sustainability, and animal well-being are truly exciting.
They are. And it raises an important question for anyone who's new to farming or thinking about starting out. As these technologies become more and more integrated into livestock farming, what new skills and knowledge will be most important for success in this new landscape? It's a question that forces us to think about the balance between embracing technological progress and holding on to the valuable traditions of farming.
Food for thought indeed. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone, and a special thanks to our expert for sharing their insights. We'll see you next time.
Hitting that like button and smash that subscribe.